Hello, hello, and welcome to yet another episode. Good evening, folks. Buck Hensley here, interrupting your regularly scheduled YouTube narration with a special Q&A session for the rules of the road. Too bad it ain't a TNA session, huh? But I reckon you got plenty of places for that elsewhere on the World Wide Web. Why, it's a plain wonder anything gets done around here. Don't y'all worry about the Baron. Radio hasn't killed the YouTube star, simply made him unavailable for the moment. He'll be back, don't get your britches in a bunch. Anyhow, we've taken your most burning questions, and we're gonna do our best to answer them. So buckle up, keep your hands at 10 and 2 and your eyes at 12. This might get bumpy. Chris from Paris, Texas asks, boxers or briefs, Buck? Neither. Full commando all the way, buddy. You ain't lived until you've done it this way. Just be careful with your zipper. Amber from Hoboken, New Jersey wants to know, how did these rules come about? And what was the first one you encountered? Oh, where do circles begin? I can't rightly say which one is the first or the last. They seem to have always been there. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? I say the rooster. Michelle from Tonopah, Nevada asks, which rule do you personally find the most horrifying? That one's a tough one. The Bible's chock full of them. Don't look back at the destruction of this city or you'll turn into sodium chloride. Your husband will think of you every time he sprinkles salt on his food. Don't cut your hair or I'll take away your strength. Sorry, I kind of screwed up the design of the whole male genitalia thing, so you're going to have to cut off a little bit of meat of your baby's pee-pee or I won't let him into heaven. Don't eat this delicious apple that I put here just to tempt you, or I will take away your paradise. But no, I say the rule I find most horrifying is the criminalization of marijuana. Those kind of rules make me want to take a dip of snuff with my butt. Thank Ra that some of y'all are finally coming to your senses and easing up on those ridiculous marijuana laws. Casey from California wants to know, how long have you been DJing? I don't know if you call what I'm doing now DJing. I don't play music no more. Time is funny here. It doesn't even really exist, so I would have to go back to before. I fell into this profession in my younger years, started off as a support at a local station and worked my way up. We were gods back in those days. The golden age of radio. And they say video killed the radio star, and I suppose that was true. But I have seen the end, and I know that radio will have the last laugh. A hysterical cackle broadcast over the ruined and bombed-out landscape that was once the home of Homo sapiens. But I digress. What I mean to say is that MTV doesn't even play music videos anymore, and people listen to podcasts and junk all the time. An evolution of the original concept of radio. So, yeah. Stu from Savannah asks, what do you do when you're not working? Any hobbies? I'm big on traveling. There's still so much for me to see. Zach up in the Pacific Northwest asks, Buck, what are you? Why, I'm the voice in your ear, Sonny. A vibration carried through the air at 115 hertz that causes your tympanic membrane to shudder and sends signals through your nice old squishy brain to eventually land in your auditory cortex where it will be interpreted as a voice with words. That's what I am. What else would I be? Zach also asks, Buck, did you make the rules, or are you merely passing them along? I'm gonna throw you a bone, Sonny, because you've been around here a long time, and I think you mean well. Just so long as you don't ask me where this bone I'm throwing you comes from, and as long as you don't mind that it's a femur. Speaking of femurs, that reminds me of a story. His name was Tucker. He was 12 years old, and he liked to visit his grandparents' farm out in the country. He liked to help with the chores and the animals and the upkeep. They were getting on in years, and he loved them so. More than anything, he liked to explore their acreage, all that nature and wilderness. He would gallivant through the creeks, up and down ravines, across pastures and meadows. He had a favorite tree he liked to climb, a bald cypress standing over 100 feet tall. He'd get up high in the branches and survey the land he was about to go explore. Just sit up there and enjoy the quiet. Now, one day he went up there in the early morning. It was a day like any other, no different than the countless ones before, except for one teeny tiny difference. A branch that he liked to use as a step had enough. It broke underneath his foot. He plummeted to the ground and broke his right femur. A nasty injury, to be sure, but nothing that he couldn't eventually recover from as a healthy young whippersnapper. And he was on the road to recovery, you see. He hollered out for his grandparents as he lay at the base of that tree, and eventually they heard him and took him to the hospital where the bone was set. Now, once the bone had snapped in two, it released some globules of fat from its juicy center right into his bloodstream. Once in the blood, those globules formed into something known as an embolus. Now, normally they might have gone throughout the circulation and entered to the heart and wound up in his lungs and done some minimal damage. But Tucker was different, you see. I don't mean any sort of unique, special snowflake way. I mean that he was born with a hole in his heart. A hole that went undetected. A hole that some of you out there may be walking around with at this very instant. This hole was called a patent foraminal valley, and was largely asymptomatic and unnoticeable, but only in the event that there wasn't an embolus of sorts traveling around his bloodstream. An embolus that could find its way through this hole, where it could enter the brain and cause a stroke. And Tucker died 2 days later after leaving the hospital. What rule do you think he broke? He didn't hear no rule. Maybe he'd have liked to. Now, where was I again? Well, shoot, I just plain forgot. What was the question again? Here's another question. Hey, Buck, Kyle from Hooker, Oklahoma here. Long-time listener, first-time caller. I was riding my bike in the park the other day, and I passed a single shoe. I wasn't wearing shoes of my own, so I had no socks. Now, my question is this. I've driven under several bridges since then, but not on my bike. Am I okay? Should I be worried? First, buddy, did you even listen to the rule? And what in the Sam Hill are you doing without shoes on? Cut your damn hair, you hippie. Second, see, folks, this is what I'm talking about when it comes to relying on other people. They will just let you down like this patchouli-reeking individual who didn't even listen to the rule correctly. It's not under the bridge. And this ain't the Red Hot Chili Peppers not ever wanting to feel like they did that day. This is over the bridge. And I think that you fine listeners have all figured out that you have to hear the broadcast for the rule to apply to you. I think. Y'all let me know. Alex from Bakersfield, California asks, what advice do you have for listeners regarding the rules of the road? Pump your brakes and listen closely. Trust only yourself to follow the rule. If you rely on another to help you out, well, that's just another person that'll let you down. Whoops. Looks like we got a live one, folks. You're on the air. What's your name there, partner?
Why, Buck? Just tell me.
That's a good one, pal. Oh, you guys kill me. Jimmy John from Morgantown, West Virginia asks, who made these rules and for what purpose? I don't know, and I don't rightly want to know. The purpose of the rules is to prevent some terrible thing from happening, or in more rare cases, to provide a reward of sorts, something helpful. Now, am I showing my hand too much if I let slip that I don't really pick who gets what? Or maybe I'm talking about it in more of a philosophical sense, as in I never got much choice or say in the matter as to how I ended up here. I mean, did you pick your parents? Or your parents' parents? Or maybe I was under the constraints of causal determinism for a long period of my life, and I'm finally free, and all that freedom's gone to my head, and I'm just having more fun than a barrel of monkeys. Sarah from Transylvania wants to know, how did you meet the most special person to you? It was summer. I was working sound down at the Junebug Jubilee, a concert down by the riverfront. It was an annual affair that brought a whole bunch of people out. A bunch of local bands and a bigger band highlighting that had some songs played on the regional radio. Families sprawled out on picnic blankets on the grass, away from all the crowds. Teens and young adults leaned up by the stage, drinking and smoking. You could catch a whiff of grass here and there. The boys had started growing out their hair long that summer, and the girls were in their summer clothes, about the only way you could tell a difference between them. I zoned out from the booth in between bands, and my eyes scanned the throngs of hot and sweaty people. I saw her there, standing in the crowd in torn jeans and a tank top, like all the light was focused on her, and everyone else at the concert was a picture gone all out of focus. As the concert went on and more bands played, I found myself continually scanning the crowd, looking for her, trying to catch a glimpse. What if I lost her amongst all those people? Next chance I got, I shirked off all my duties at the sound booth and went out to find her. Without me there, the next band sounded like shit. Bass and the drums drowning out the vocals of the lead singer, which ended up as an improvement overall. As I neared her, she looked up. We made eye contact. I smiled, she smiled. I can still remember that smile. Eric from Timmins, Canada asks, who or what is Carla? She's a telemarketer, but also your SO? Carla. That is a dead fucking name. Next question. Dick from Albany, New York asks, how long have the rules been something you've broadcast? It seems to me that with the fate of some listeners, there have probably been many that aren't able to share their accounts due to being, well, dead mostly. Now, in your time zone, I don't know what that equates to in terms of hours and days and years. But the seasons here are long and mind-numbingly boring. The hours tick by like years. I find ways to make the time pass. I talk to all you fine people, try to warn you against possibly inevitable fates. And I must admit, I have some damn fun watching it all. You people crack me up. As for the dead, well, it's a damn shame they can't share their accounts. Think of the stories they could tell y'all. I'd love to share some of them with you, but I just couldn't do it justice. There's just no replicating the sound of the dead talking, and it would be a vast injustice for me to even try. I could get the words down all right, but the voice is where it's all at. Well, that looks like that's it for tonight. I hope I quenched the thirst of your curiosity for just a wee bit. I hope you don't question the answers too much. Hope you learn to be satisfied with what you got. And if you do have more questions, maybe you're asking the wrong guy. Maybe you need to be thinking long and hard about the person asking them. Y'all have a good one now. Stay safe. Stay alert. Stay lonely. I'm Buck Hensley, and these are the rules of the road.
And that is the scariest story ever told. Wait. Oh, bad form, Buck. Well, I'm going to go air my grievances over at Jonesing for Fear. That's the subreddit where you can read all these rules of the road stories. The buck stops here, indeed.